for a motion. So I'm going to report out. We received legal advice. No votes were taken. I'm going to ask for a motion to seal the minutes.
Motion to seal the minutes.
Second,
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to seal the minutes. I'll ask for a roll call vote. Mrs. Farnworth,
yes.
Mrs. Palish,
Yes.
Mrs. Pavo,
Yes.
Mr. Dakotas,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So the minutes are sealed 5-0. So we're back in open session. Welcome to our March 9th Tiverton School Committee meeting. The meeting has already been opened, but I'm going to ask for you to rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. Farnworth has a flag behind her. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America, and to the
and to
republic,
the republic for which it
Yeah.
stands,
One
One
nation.
one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and
justice
justice.
for all.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
There's a
Second,
second. Any opposed? I'll take that as unanimous. I'm going to ask for motion to move up item 8A under old business settlement agreement.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any opposed? So I'll take that as unanimous. We're on item 8A settlement agreement. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. To reject the settlement agreement.
Okay.
I'll
There's
second that.
motion's been made and seconded by Mr. Dakotas and Mrs. Palish. I'm going to ask for a roll call vote. Mrs. Farnworth,
yes.
Mr. Dakotas,
Yes.
Mrs. Palish,
Yes.
Mrs. Pavo,
No.
and I vote yes. The settlement has been rejected. I am going to ask for a motion to move up item 9D, spotlight and success.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any opposed? I'll take that as unanimous. We're on item 9D, spotlight on success. Mrs. Craven.
Thank you, Dr. Hawkins. So if you could wait it, Dave, can you let those parents in, please?
Doing that right now. Okay, we are all set.
Okay, Mrs. Craven, take it away.
Thank you. Mr. Carnavale, can you pull up the slide presentation, please, that I sent to you? We have with us this evening parents and students who did an amazing job with their artwork as presented through the Lions Club Peace Through Service contest, poster contest that is every year an event that our students at Tiverton Middle School always have great success in winning. So as you can see, we had a presentation in front of our school. We had Mr. Schreiner and Miss Salvador Goodson at our school there with the Lions Club to present the awards. And the awards went to, if you can move to the next slide, Dave, please. First place winner was Lila Ramels. Lila was also first place for Rhode Island District 42. And our second place winner was Jamison Schreiner. Jamison is a 7th grader in our school, and third place award went to Maddie Kudo, and honorable mention went to Tyler Preventure, who is also a grade 7 student. And I'd like to also thank, in our final slide, Mr. Schreiner and Ms. Salvador for their efforts. This is a lot of work goes into and planning and dedication to preparing the students for this contest. And we're very proud at the middle school because every year, as I said, we do win these awards, and I can't thank them enough, and I can't thank the Lions Club enough for their great presentation that we had last week. So it's definitely a spotlight on success at Tiverton Middle School, and I appreciate the efforts of all and congratulate the students this evening.
Great job. So great job, Tyler, Maddie, Jamison, and Lila. Congratulations. And thank you again, Mr. Schreiner and Mrs. Salvador Goodison for all your great work as well. So hats off and great applause. Probably can't hear everyone cheering, but they are in their Zoom silence.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right. All right. So next, I don't know, Mike, if the Representative Edwards is on or available yet.
I told him 7:20, so he's probably not expecting to be on until closer to then. I can
Okay.
text him now, though. Would you like me to text him that we're ready?
Yeah, and maybe what we'll do is, Miss Morissette, do you think you'll have more than 10, 15 minutes?
Oh, definitely not. No, I can do it in less than that.
Okay, so why don't we move up I'll ask for a motion to move up item 9B.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any opposed? I'll take that as unanimous. We're on item 9B. And Mike, if you could let the representative know whenever he's available, he can, come, and Dave, as soon as you see him in, we'll move him up next. So, Ms. Morissette.
Thank you so much. Can you all hear me okay?
I can.
Perfect. Thank you. It's a little spotty on my end. You're kind of frozen, but if you can hear me, that's perfect.
It's just a cold heart.
So I am a special educator at Tiverton High School, and I'm also the class of 2021 advisor. So I'm really excited to be putting together a few activities for the seniors this year, despite COVID, to make their senior year special. So one of the programs that I am currently working on is Adopt a Senior. And this was done last year as well, where Tiverton staff members each selected a senior or two to adopt for the rest of the school year. And they would be giving their selected senior a little surprise once a month, maybe a little gift, a note, just something to cheer them up and raise their morale in the days and months leading up to graduation. This year, I put out a Google form to get teachers and other staff members within the district to sign up. And I'm really happy to announce that 111 of our seniors were adopted. But with that being said, we still have 13 seniors left to adopt. So I was just here tonight hoping to raise some awareness about this and hope that maybe if members of the school committee or we have administrators from all the other buildings besides the high school here at this meeting, I was hoping that you all could spread the word so that we can get these last 13 seniors adopted and with hopes of getting out their first little surprise by March 17th. There is a monthly theme for their surprises. March's theme is something green in honor of St. Patty's Day. So we were really hoping that the senior could receive their surprise by the 17th. So I'm just here, like I said, to just kind of let you all know about this and hope that maybe you'd like to participate.
Okay.
And who should they contact or how should they contact you? I know it's probably on here, but just so that you can, if people are watching, they can kind of hear it.
I have a Google form, so I don't know if what would be the best way for me to share the Google form so people can access it. I could share with like Mr. Carnevale, if that would be helpful, the link to it.
Or Miss Delcourt, I don't know, could you get that on somehow? One of the two.
I could send it to both of them.
There you go.
And there's like check boxes, and you'll see there's 13 seniors left to be checked off on the Google form. It's really simple to fill out, and even if you do not know the student, I have reached out to the families of the students to get an interest inventory so that we can know a little more about the students' likes and dislikes in order to provide them something that they will enjoy and something that will cheer them up.
All right. Thank you so much for doing this, Ms. Morissette. It's such a great idea, especially given all the strangeness of their junior year and now their senior year. I'm going to open up to other questions from the committee. Mrs. Pavo,
I have nothing, thank you.
Ms. Barnworth,
I have no questions at this time. Thank you though for putting this together. I think it's a phenomenal idea, and glad to hear that our seniors are being getting the attention that they so richly deserve, because this class has probably been through more than any class we have ever seen go through. Honestly, 2 years really of this, and certainly a lot of questions on their futures. I have felt for this class since the day this whole thing started, and I'm glad to see that so many people are doing positive things for them.
Mr. Dakotas.
Well, Kristen, thank you for coming on and bringing light to this. And if you need school committee members, that's what you're asking. I would like to do it if that's what you're asking. Is that all right?
That would be great, Mike. Thank you so much. I will definitely send that out to Mr. Carnevale and Miss Delcourt.
Okay. I don't know if anyone wants to hear from me, but if they're willing, then I'm a nice guy. I'll send them words of encouragement and gifts.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your support and participation.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
And again, thank you so much, Ms. Morissette. Do you reach out to the elementary school teachers and the middle school teachers as well? Can't hear.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't hear what you said. I'm so sorry.
I was just wondering if you asked for elementary school teachers who may have had some of these kids, or middle school teachers to be the adoptees or adopters.
Yes, I sent this out already to
Okay.
every school in the
Okay.
district.
All right. Well, please keep us updated, and anything we can do. The thought of being an adoptive parent at this point sort of sends me a little bit of a anxiety, but I probably could do it anyway too.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
All right. And any questions from our administrators or from the public, Ms. Delcourt?
And Ms. Morissette, I just want to thank you again for all your efforts supporting the senior classes. This is a great tribute.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. They deserve it.
Absolutely.
And anything from the public, Ms. Delcourt? Okay, thank you. And again, thank you very much again, Kristen. All right, I'm going to ask for motion to move up item 9A. Representative John Edwards, House 5485, open meetings.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any opposed? I'll take that as unanimous. So welcome, Representative Edwards. Good to see you.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't think I've been called John. by anybody other than like my first grade school teacher or maybe the IRS.
Well, Jay's been getting you into controversy, so perhaps you should.
No, Jay has been good to me. It's the other Jay has been very bad to me.
I'm just saying, his name Jay seems to have gotten you a little bit of controversy lately.
Yeah.
Undeserved, I should say. Yeah.
So
Anyway.
H5485 is a very straightforward piece of legislation. I put it in on behalf of a member of the school committee a couple of years ago. Obviously, last year we didn't have any hearings on anything other than major bills that had to deal with cities and towns. What this legislation would do very simply is allow a school committee, any school committee in the state, to bring up a matter that's not on your agenda and talk about it. No action could be taken. You would, if you were going to vote on something, you'd have to vote on it in a future meeting where you had it posted. But especially in this time of pandemic and crisis, we found, I'm sure this school committee has, I know other committees have, issues arise that you want to discuss. And unfortunately, school committees are the only elected body in the state that are precluded from actually discussing something, discussion only, during a meeting. Issue comes up before town council, they can bring the matter up. They can talk about it. They can't take any action, but they can talk about it. They can set items up for future discussion or future votes. School committees cannot. The town budget committee can do it. If you were on a landfill committee in the state, you could bring up a matter for discussion, not vote on it, but you could bring up a matter for discussion. If you had a crisis arise in the school department somehow, there is no way you could bring it up under the current law on the Open Meetings Act. All this bill would do would be allow any school committee in the state to bring up for discussion only an item that is not already posted on the agenda. For me, it makes sense. I think for you as a committee and for the school committees throughout the state, I think it just makes perfect sense.
Well, thank you very much for doing that. I'm sure that that would be very helpful for us, in the future, especially when something comes up, sort of in discussion about one thing and then kind of leads into something else. So I'm going to open up the floor to questions from the committee. So Mrs. Pavo?
I have no questions. I read the bill and I think it's a good idea. Very good idea.
Mr. Dakotas?
I just want to thank Representative J.G. Edwards for sending it to me, and I passed it on. And like Mrs. Paveo said, it's a no-brainer to me. Thanks for sharing it with us, and hopefully we can make something happen with it.
Okay. Mrs. Farnworth?
Thank you, Representative Edwards. Can I just ask you a couple questions? And I don't know if you'll be able to answer this or not. Was there ever are you aware of why school committees would have been treated differently than other bodies in the past?
There's no idea. I've asked the Attorney General. I asked their office to look into it. They couldn't come up with an idea. I also asked the people who are big on open government, like John Marion, if he had any conception of why. No one seems to understand why school committees have been excluded.
Okay, thank you. It was just, curiosity, really. And as I was researching this, I'm looking for you to help explain something to me because I couldn't find the answer on the state's website. And I know you know the answer to this, you must. When I looked at the bill, and this was the same for a number of bills, not just this one, it shows the date that it's introduced, the date that it received a hearing, which was February 18th. And then it says committee recommended measure be held for further study. What does that mean?
It's a very simple process. We hold any bill that has been brought up for just introduction, like this bill has. We hold them for further study. And as someone who has introduced some, I would very frankly call them real turds over the course of my career, you want to make sure that these bills are completely vetted. One bill I introduced my freshman term, was my second bill introduction, was so, I wrote it up, gave it to legislative council. They put it into legalese, but it was really poorly written. And thank God that bill was held for further study, because the lawyers were able to get into it after the discussion in committee, understanding all the ramifications of the legislation. They were able to go in and make some corrections. So we hold them. So if, let's say the school committee in Tiverton doesn't want this, we could say, well, we could have all school committees around the state except Tiverton. We could go in and put an exception in. Or let's say there was some other group or entity that was excluded. We could keep them excluded and just have the school committees be added back in. It's a way for the legislative lawyers to do a roundup on them and to really make sure that they're going to, number one, that they're not going to conflict with already existing law, but also make sure they make sense.
So it's really a research period, and then it'll take the next step when it's ready. I apologize. I'm not familiar with the workings of the legislature.
Oh, no apology needed. I mean, I came up here, and I remember my first bill, they held it for further study. I was like, what do you mean you're not going to vote on it right now?
Mhm.
So most people don't understand the process. And unfortunately, when we hold bills for further study, people think they're going to die a slow, painful death somewhere, when in fact, they are just held by the committee. Let's say you wanted some language changed in this. That would be the period when I would get the language changed. I'd go to the chairman, I'd go to legislative council, I'd go to the speaker's office, we'd get the language changed, we'd have it reheard as a sub A, and then the committee would vote on it before it has to go to the floor. Otherwise, they have to bring it to the floor and you have to make an amendment.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And I have no objection to this. I think it's a great idea as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, and Mrs. Palish?
And thank you also, Rep. Edwards. You'll make one of my jobs as the agenda police now obsolete. Which I'm sure will make Dr. Larkin very happy.
Yeah, well.
Because now all he'll have to say is, I'll make a motion to add it for discussion only.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Rep. Edwards.
All right. Any questions from any of our administrators? And any questions from the public?
Nothing from the public, Dr. Larkin.
Okay. All right. Well, Jay, thank you very much. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you over the next several months.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be in constant communication. I hope you all have my cell phone. It's on my business card. If you don't, Dr. Larkin, I'm sure, can share it with the members of the committee.
Yep, I have it.
Okay, but like, if any of the members also have questions or something kind of in the time coming forward, which is going to be stressful for all, don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, thanks, Jay.
And we
Thank
can
you
reach
all.
out anytime, Jay. Like, is there any hours you don't want us to reach out to you? Or is
Well,
your
see,
phone?
I have an Apple phone that I can put to sleep, so you might just go to voicemail.
Okay.
I
Thanks
do get
again.
up awful early though, so don't be afraid. You know, if you get a call at 4:30 in the morning, it could be me returning your call.
Yeah, I'll call you back at 6:30. Thank you, though.
All right, great. So we are back now to item 7, which is policy development, revision, review. We have a number of policies for a second reading.
Dr. Larkin, I
yep.
am going to need to leave the meeting, and I just wanted to
Yeah.
let you know that.
You know, unless there's an objection, I'm going to ask for a motion to table Item 7.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cause problems. It's just me.
No, I just want to try and be mindful of everyone's time, and maybe we can table item 7 in toto till next meeting. Is there such a motion?
Yes, I'll
So
make that
I'll
motion.
make that motion. I'll second it.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, I'll take that as unanimous. And Deb, I know it's tax season, so if you're gonna leave us, we do so with our regret, but with numbers in your head. All right, so now we are on item number 8B, FY22 budget update. Dr. Sanquioni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and not a lot of new news, but I do want to keep this on the agenda for every meeting. As the committee's already expressed and knows, the FTR is July 17th. That certainly doesn't serve the school department well, seeing that our staff and many of our parents might be scrambled for summer. However, once I learn about absentee ballots and voting from home and things of that nature, I think it's going to be imperative for us to get that information out to our constituents. We still do not have an update on state aid or federal aid, and that's going to make a huge difference in our understanding of maybe how deep our cuts are, or in fact, if we achieve our budget, there won't be any cuts. And we continue to promote the $33.9 million budget. We've been meeting with every PTO and every staff and pulling out information that way. And at the same time, we're also working on presentations to address a deficit should that come to fruition, and wanted to let the committee know that sometime in April, we'll begin to give you some of those scenarios so you have a deeper understanding of what a deficit would look like for the committee.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open up the floor to questions from our committee. Mr. Dakotas?
No, thank you for the update, Dr. Sanquioni.
Mrs. Farnworth?
No questions, just like the rest of us, looking forward to hearing what the implications of the latest rounds of stimulus will be for us. And hopefully we'll hear something sooner rather than later in a positive vein.
Okay. And Mrs. Pavo?
No questions.
Okay. Any questions from the public, Mrs. Delcourt?
Out of this, Larkin.
And from any of our administrators who are on the meeting? Okay. I guess I just have one real quick question, Peter. Has the budget now, with everything kind of shifted, probably 6, 7, 8 weeks, something like that, back, has the budget committee given us any indication of when they might want us to come before them?
No, none whatsoever. They just said they'd get back to me after they canceled the meeting from a week or so ago.
Okay. All right.
Dr. Larkin, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask.
Go ahead.
Dr. Sanquioni, at our last meeting, I believe you mentioned that the budget committee would be touring the schools on March 20th. Is that still the date?
Yes, that is still on. 11 o'clock start, meet at the high school lobby.
So will you be posting it for the school committee?
Yes, we will.
Yeah, we should post that, just even if people
Right.
don't come, then so what? But if there's a quorum, we have to be posted.
Right, thank you.
Okay, great. I'm going to move to item 9C, Picasset School 100-day update. Mrs. Wardell.
Thank you. Dave, can I just share? I began as principal of Picasset School on July 1st, but before I began, in the springtime, I did I conducted one-on-one interviews and focus groups with parents, students, teachers, and staff members. And I asked 3 main questions. The first was, what makes Picasset special and unique? The second was, what are some special events or traditions that you have here at Picasset? And then the last one was, what is an area that you feel either needs to be strengthened or changed? And from those interviews, I came up with 3 focus areas, 3 goals that I was going to work on in the 100 days of school. So the first is improving communication. The second is improving school culture and climate. And then the third was improving school student achievement. And this is my progress so far. And I have to, before I show this, I have to thank everyone, the whole Picasset school community. They've been wonderfully supportive. And I know it's a very, very difficult time, but we've all pulled together. And I'm very proud of what we've accomplished so far in the first 100 days. So to improve communication, I've sent out a lot of emails, which I know you receive, to teachers, staff, and families. I also created a principal advisory team, and we meet once a month to go over school-wide issues, especially concerning culture and climate. I'm a very visible presence, and that was something that people were very concerned about. So I really make sure every day I'm very visible and present at arrival, at dismissal, and an active participant in the PTO. I also created common planning times. Previously, teachers did have common planning, but they never did anything in common planning. So during common planning times at Picasset, every Friday, I meet for 40 minutes with every grade level. And we look at student achievement, any struggles that students may be having. We look at curriculum, and we also do some training. So some of the training that we've done is freckle math training, RICAS training, data meetings, and an upcoming common planning time that we're going to have is based on the social emotional learning survey that our 3rd and 4th grade students just took. I also do a monthly virtual parent meeting, and it's called Coffee Talk, Coffee and Convo with the Principal every month. For improving school culture and climate, we have a new positive behavior support system, and it's called Picasset Pause. Now, last year there was a PBIS system. However, it wasn't consistently used throughout the school. So instead, what I did is I created first a PBIS committee. And we began meeting during the summertime. Teachers just volunteered and showed up, teachers and staff members. And we established behavioral norms and expectations to students. And we explicitly taught those to students this year. And it's really made a huge improvement because students know what's expected of them. So their behaviors naturally follow. Our PAWS stand for P is Picasset proud, A, awesome workers, W, wonderful communicators, and S, super problem solvers. So every single Friday, we do a drawing. Students can collect PAWS during the week, and there is one winner from every single classroom, including our preschool and including our behavior support program. They receive a prize and a certificate. And we keep track to make sure that all students will eventually have a chance to win, because all students are able to do the behaviors shown on our PBIS matrix. I also kind of borrowed something from Fall Apart in School. It's a school-wide signal for student safety. We also have a Picasset school cheer that we say every morning. We work together to revise student arrival inside and outside the building to make it really positive. So we play music in the morning, we play music when students leave. We always greet students individually. And that really has helped us to connect with students, especially during this time. We also use that time to identify any students that might be struggling in the morning. And we have our SEL staff also does that welcome with us, so that way they can immediately assist students who may be struggling. Our students vote every month on their dress up days. We do it through Google Forms, and every student in every class participates. And from that, I announce on the morning intercom what they've selected. So it's been, whether it's been dress up, the most popular one is pajama day. So we've had all different ones so far. Students also voted on new recess because they're the ones that use the equipment. So they're the ones that should have a voice in the equipment. And of note, student attendance has improved greatly. So if we look at pre-pandemic, like February 26th, compared to during the pandemic, February 26th, we have a 30% improvement on attendance. We also worked on the mission, vision, and common values, school-wide goals with our school improvement team, which meets monthly. We have ongoing school community partnerships, even during the pandemic. So Brookdale Secundit Bay seniors with grade 1 reading partners, Massachusetts General Hospital Valentines. We have something called Motivational Mondays, and that's during morning drop-off. Parents are greeted with a smile and a free cup of coffee. And it's those little things nowadays in our pandemic, we're all, so many people have been isolated, and we've kind of lost that human connection. So this helps bring people together, and it's a highlight. We have families lined all the way up to come in to get a free cup of coffee. So it's really nice. It's a great way to begin the week. We've had already the PTO, Tiverton Police is going to be involved. We've had the Rail Explorers out of Portsmouth, the Picasset families, and the gymnastics, our superintendent. And we also have the Super Shawnee Squad that will be coming. So it's a really nice way to begin a week and to really connect as a community. Our student achievement scores, I know we're in a pandemic, but I just have to compliment everyone, from the parents to the ultra hardworking students to the teachers and staff that are just doing the best, going over and beyond. We've seen improvement in every grade. So our STAR early literacy scores in kindergarten, we see a 7% increase. Now, STAR early literacy, that score actually is about 75% reading and 25% math. When we go over to first grade takes STAR early literacy for the first quarter, so the first initial benchmark. So we don't really have a comparative score yet for first grade. We will though. Right now, the winter baseline is 39%, but if we look at the other grades in STAR reading, in grade 2, we have a 16% increase in student achievement. In grade 3, we have a 38% improvement. And grade 4, we have a 7% improvement. Now, STAR reading, this is based on the Common Core standards. So what I've done with the scores is once we finish, take a hard look at what standards did students do well in, where are those standards in the curriculum, and how can we start closing the gaps for students so we can make sure all students are exposed and have proficiency in the grade level standards. And then the last slide is STAR math. And again, first grade, we only have the baseline of 39%. And just great improvement. Grade 2, we have 7% improvement. Again, grade 3 knocked it out of the park, 32% improvement, and grade 4 had a 10% improvement. I'm looking forward to continuing all of this work with Picasset School, and we've done all of this hard work and incredible work just within the first 100 days. I can't wait to have another 100 or 200 or however many more. I'm sure we're going to keep on moving forward. Does anyone have any questions?
So thank you so much, Ms. Wardell. That was a really great presentation. I'm going to open up the floor to questions or comments from our committee members. Mrs. Pavo? Elaine, you're muted if you're trying to talk. All right, I'll come back to you. Mrs. Farnworth?
Mrs. Wardell, thank you very much for the presentation. I thought it was extremely well put together. And I can see that Picasset School is on the right track thanks to you and to your teachers and your parents. I can't say enough good things. Keep it up. And thanks again for letting us know.
Thank you.
Mr. Dakotas?
Yes, thank you. I want to also sentiment what Mrs. Farworth said about that. And the one thing I hope you consider is I know when my Christina was there, she used to everything was to do the morning announcement. She wanted to do the morning announcement. So I hope at some point you can mix that in. I know what you're doing is great. But when I tell you my kid would come home and say, I'm going to do the morning announcements, it was a week of excitement. So you're doing a great job, and hopefully you can bring that back in some form or fashion.
We
Thanks
will.
for
Yep. Yeah. As soon as we figure out that a very COVID safe way to do that, we're on it.
Yes, thank you. I just want to have my 2 cents. I love that school. So thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Mrs. Pavo, if you're back.
I have nothing. Suzette, you're doing a great job. And
Thanks,
there are
Elaine.
some very exciting, that's some very exciting news you're sharing with us.
Thank you.
So I hope it continues.
Okay. Any questions from any of our other administrators? And any questions from the public?
Not at this time, Dr. Larkin.
Okay, well, keep up the good work, Suzette. Really appreciate all the initiative and hard work you're bringing to Picasset.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are up to item 9E, retirement incentive. Dr. Sanquioni.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the committee if I could delay this for a couple of weeks. I had an opportunity to talk to Attorney Scungio today, and he wanted to add some verbiage to this that he thought would make it a little more. I think you can get a gist of what I'm going to try to accomplish, so you got the background for it, but I'd like to bring it for your consideration in 2 weeks.
We're going to ask for a motion to table.
Motion to table.
Ms. Pavo made the motion, Ms. Farnworth seconded. Any opposed? Take that as unanimous. Okay. And then we are up to item 9F, advertising policy number 1076. Dr. Sanquioni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so the policy concerns advertising. I'm not looking to change the policy, but just wanted the committee to see it again and then engage in a conversation with you. As you know, we have some community members who are leading the charge to raise revenue to replace the light pole at the high school. And you know, that's $133,000. We have some banks, some other industries in town that are contributing heavily to this. And I just wanted to make the committee aware of this policy and engage with you a conversation about potentially providing advertising opportunities at our football field for these people who are going to be donating this money. Certainly following everything in the policy, not looking to change the policy, but just again, wanted to get your feel for that before I engage in any future conversations with these people.
Got
Dr.
it. Okay.
Can you I know that there's a bank. Are there any local businesses that you know of?
I do. I don't want to reference them tonight because I'd hate to leave anyone out, but I can get a comprehensive list for you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna open the floor to other committee members. Ms. Farnworth.
Dr. Sanquioni, the policy speaks to district staff and employees only. I think the proposal that you may prefer to make would be once you have donations in place and a plan, that perhaps you take it to us as a package and we could approve it that way because this policy, I'm just looking at it now, it's in bold and underlined. This policy applies to district staff employees only and is not intended for the use by parent groups or independent nonprofits. So perhaps it's just a separate discussion that we have outside of this policy as it pertains to this particular project. That's just my only suggestion on that.
No, I recognize that, and I saw that line there also, but there's nothing else that speaks to independent groups regarding advertising. So again, why I put that there. And I guess that's what I'm trying to do with you tonight is just get a sense from the committee. Is this something that you would be amenable to sort of reward these people who are doing this work for us to raise that money for the poll?
Why? I'll just speak for myself. I don't think I would have any issue with it. Maybe what we can do too is refer the policy to the policy subcommittee for update as well.
Yeah, that seemed to me to be a reasonable thing to do, to kind of extend this policy so we can accommodate, sort of that kind of notice of appreciation. Anything else, Dan?
No, thank you.
Mr. Dakotas?
I just want to add to that that's probably great to go to the policy subcommittee, and then if we could just paint the pole yellow like Pesky's pole, and we will just have all the sponsors up and down the pole, just like at Fenway. It'd be great.
Oh, that's an idea. Okay.
And Mr. Dakotas' contribution will be the yellow paint and the paint job.
Yeah.
Well,
that's it, yes.
If we get a ladder truck in this town, we'll have that. We'll paint it, and we'll let everyone sign it. We'll put everything on there, and it'll be great. We'll be in all the newspapers. Look at this cool
Yeah,
idea.
use for the ladder truck. Woo-hoo.
That's right. There you go. That's why we needed the ladder truck.
Okay. Huh. I guess you never really know what's going to happen at these meetings. All right. Anything else, Elaine?
Nothing, thank you.
And any comments from the public, Ms. Delcourt?
Not at this time, Dr. Larkin.
Anything from our administrators? So, I don't think we need a vote to refer it to the policy subcommittee. I just think we would probably want them to take it up so that we could then have policy that would accommodate such a relationship. All right, we are up to item 10, announcement schedules, meetings, reports. We are currently scheduled to meet again on March 23rd. 2 weeks can pass faster than you think. And April 13th. So anything else from the committee or Dr. Sanchioni?
Yeah, if I could add one thing, Dr. Larkin. It's a pleasure to announce tonight that through the coordination with Tiverton Fire Department on Friday from 3 to 6 p.m., we're going to offer the Pfizer vaccine for all members of the Tiverton Public Schools staff.
That's awesome.
So we'll begin vaccinating everyone. We hope all of our staff will take advantage of that. And we'll be putting out exact schedules for people to sign up tomorrow.
Okay, that's more than an announcement. That's great. Thank you. Anything else from either the committee or our administrators or the public?
I just want to. I'd like to thank Chief Reimels, and I mean that's when I got that email from Dr. Sanchioni. I put a smile on my face. That's great. Our staff, our teachers have been. I mean, I can't speak for the districts in the state, but they've been in these buildings since September, and they're true heroes to me. I have a wife that works in there, and if vaccinated this week, start the vaccination. Hats off to Town of Tiverton and the fire department. It's great.
Yeah, and if I can actually, I guess, switch hats for a second, I think it's a really important thing to understand that while the efficacy of the vaccines, including the Pfizer vaccine, is really quite good, sort of amazing, I guess, from the perspective of my work. But more importantly, it virtually eliminates the risk of severe disease, so hospitalization or death related to the coronavirus. So even if you get it subsequent to being vaccinated, there really have been 0 deaths, 0 hospitalizations after vaccination. So I would encourage everyone who feels comfortable getting it to get it. All right, so I guess on a relatively optimistic note, especially given the last 12 months, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. Sorry.
Second.
Any opposed?